What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to another relaxing painting session. Today we are going to blend colors in oil paint and talk about how to do that wet into dry. So this is going to be wet onto dry. This is a painting we started a little less than a week ago, but it's been a couple days since we started this. The start of this is also on my YouTube. So let's go ahead and mix up some colors. Just getting my computer all set up for the live stream here. This was taken right out of the freezer, so as you can see here, it's still wet. The paint is still wet. I get the question of how long should you let the paint sit out after you take it out the freezer. I left it for about 15 minutes or so. 15 minutes was okay. Alright, so I'm looking at the reference and looking at the painting. I'm going to pick a place to start, and I'm going to start to refine things around wherever I start. Rather than start here, I'm going to start maybe on the eye that's in the shadow. This is a sable brush. I keep my brushes in a jar of linseed oil just because I don't want to clean them in the sink. This is a small apartment and I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and start with the darks. Now, by relaxing painting session, what I mean is the tone is going to be not as fast paced, so more something you can just play along and do work on your household chores, or whether you're on the clock at work, you can keep it, you can even mute it, just have something painting related for your day. Mark L, Fatima, hello. How do I make this text larger? I'm not very tech savvy. Let me try something here. There we go. Not the most tech savvy person, but feel free to ask any questions while I'm painting. I'm not really going to be painting in like demo speed like I usually do with my live streams. This is more just kind of at my own pace. Some of the paint will lift. Like I said, this is in between dry, but you can still work wet over dry. You just got to be careful of which spots are in between dry. This should be fine. Starting off with the dark of the eyebrow. Symmetry is a thing, right? So I'm going to look here, cross right over to the other side. And I see that the eyebrow is a little bit tall over here, so I'm going to make a drawing correction while I can. I'm going to have a light brush and a dark brush. Both are going to be sables. So thanks for any likes. I changed something on my screen so I don't actually see the likes right now. Is it safe to use oil colors in small apartments without opening the window? Yeah, as long as you don't have a large container of mineral spirits out. I use Gamsol, and you can see it's so small. It's not even enough to fill this little container. So, yeah, it's fine to use in an apartment. The whole spontaneous combustion thing, if you haven't heard of it, it's something that can happen if you leave any oily rags out, especially around something flammable. In this studio space, there's some like rubber, the workout pads. There's really nothing here that's going to catch fire if this spontaneously combusts, which it won't. it really won't happen. In terms of the air quality, as long as you use artist grade mineral spirits, don't buy any of the mineral spirits from the hardware store and use that to try to save money. Just use Gamsol in small containers. And for the small apartment life thing, I just keep the brushes in here. I don't clean them. I don't put any of this stuff in my sink. That's really gonna be the biggest challenge that you're gonna have, both with water mixable and traditional oil paints. So I noticed the water mixable, they were clogging up the sink. So yeah, go figure. Yeah, even the water mixable was clogging up the sink. So you're perfectly safe to use the oil paints. Just be mindful of the oily rags. Of course, you don't want to have them near. Okay, that's a little bit better. You don't want to have them anywhere near uh, like pets or small children or whoever can get into the rags and try to eat the rags. You know what I mean? It'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay, so now kind of just working one little edge at a time. This was a drawing correction, so just this little window is what I'll be working on. To anyone that's wondering, this is a continuation of a video that I started last week. So I'll combine all this footage to a short video for Facebook and then a long video for Patreon. There we go. Nice soft edges there. Yep, this is the Frozen palette. I'm glad you like the advice about the painting in an apartment. Yep, this is the Frozen palette. It's one small section at a time. In the beginning, the painting is very fast paced, probably more exciting for the majority of you, and then it just slows down. I don't have any cadmiums or lead colors on my palette. My favorite subject to paint is portrait, but I will paint other subject matter as I do want to sell these paintings in the future. Soft edges can be created by mixing values that are really close to one another. switch to the light brush. And this is just a piece of plexiglass that I'm using for a palette. Nothing fancy here. In a little bit, I'm going to bring something that I found in I bought at the local Plaza Art Store, if I remember. It's a watercolor paper mounted onto a panel. Remember how I struggled with the watercolor buckling the paper? I don't know if it's a good idea, but it was only like, I want to say like $4 or so. So I decided to buy it. I don't think I'm going to try it out today, but when I do try it, I'll probably try it during a live stream. And I'll keep some pastels or some oil paints close by in case I hate it. I hate the paper, but it might be worth a try. Which, by the way, these videos might be useful for sleep, as they are slow paced. If you have trouble going to bed at night, tired of counting sheeps, could hang out with me in your own mind, pretend like you're painting along with me. Maybe you could pretend that you're in a painting group somewhere. A little bit of shadow for the sclera there. This is kind of tough to do because in the picture this almost looks blacked out on my streaming software, but it's not in real life. And by real life I mean the screen. The screen on my TV doesn't make this look blacked out, but my little box with my streaming software makes it look blacked out. And yes, I do wish I would much rather paint from real life, but what can you do when you move to a place where painting groups are not as prevalent? What can you do? Mark Ellie said you'll try next time you have insomnia. Well, I hope that you don't have insomnia. That would be ideal. I hope you don't. But if you do, hopefully this will help with something. I finally started getting into a decent sleep pattern. Not that this matters much with this stream, but I don't think too many people would be interested in a video such as this one. Typically, people like start of paintings more, but anyway, yeah, I've been getting into a better sleep routine recently. Trying to wake up earlier to use the gym that's in this apartment complex. Which also helps me be a little more energized throughout the day, even though I probably don't sound like it. This is probably the first Monday you've seen me on here. I told you I will show up, just not as you would expect anymore. That has something to do a little bit with the artist block as well. I told you that I was dealing with that. It's a real thing. Artist block is when you want to paint or draw or whatever you want to create, but something's blocking you from doing it. So what you have to do to get out of that is just do it. Doesn't matter if your schedule is going to get all sporadic. You just do it. And pushing some values. Fatima, I live in Northern Virginia. To be more specific, I live in Alexandria, Virginia. So I'm basically about 15 minutes away from DC. As you can imagine, traffic is insane over here. I don't really like this area. I tolerate it. What I do like about this area is the food, the cultural diversity here, and the fact that I'm right across the street from the billiard academy that I go to. So I'll be training in the mornings, early mornings, such that I could be here. Live streaming, even if you don't want to see the videos. My hope is that these kind of chill painting sessions will be somewhat of a relaxation for people. There's been so many eras in YouTube. I feel like for me, in the beginning, it was the tutorial, the weekly portrait painting tutorial, until I covered pretty much everything I could think of. Of course, I could do it all over again with like watercolor or acrylic, but that's been kind of done like a lot. And the way that things are now, it seems like the immediacy of the live stream is a little bit more convenient. So yeah, I'm thinking of a type of live stream that's just more chill, laid back, not necessarily trying to create an entire painting in one sitting, you know what I mean? Like, that's fun, but are you really going to want to showcase paintings that you only worked on one day? You could, but what if you had a whole other day to work on it, or 2 days even? a week on something like this may be pushing it, but I mean, we've done it before. This is kind of like a pencil on paper. You're almost filling in like every little, I guess, facet of the paper. Even though this is not paper, obviously. Hey Tipu, welcome, welcome. I'm showing you stuff that you usually don't see from me or potentially other creators. The slow, boring stuff. If you want proof that it's boring, look at the number of people that are here. Not too many for this kind of stuff. It's also my fault for not having a consistent schedule again, but like I'm telling you, artist block is a thing. I've had it for a while now. Okay, now I'm gonna switch sides to the other eye. You can see this has a little bit more form now, so this is starting to look flat in comparison. Hey Lewis, welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's been a while. Oh no, I still have artist block. Hey, yeah, I still have it, Tipo. I still have it. But I'm pushing myself, basically forcing myself to paint. I enjoy painting. I do. I enjoy mixing the paint, pushing the paint around. But coming up with ideas for series paintings, for especially a string of videos, a series of videos is something I haven't formulated yet. So still have a little bit of artist block. Am I left-handed again? I don't know. I'm left-handed on the camera. I don't know why this is. I'm left-handed on the other camera and I'm right-handed on this one. I don't know how to mirror it. Let me see if I can figure it out. My streaming software has been kind of weird. It's been real weird. Rotate. How about flip vertical? Maybe. Nope. I'm gonna. Let me see. So let's flip vertical again. Where is that? Flip vertical. This is still my left hand. So it must be flip horizontal. I think. I don't know. There it is. It's flip horizontal. I don't know. I'm not the most tech savvy person. But looked like I was left-handed. I haven't been up to that much, really. Just the usual pool stuff, trying to get myself ready for some upcoming tournaments. Hanging out with my Shiba Inu, Hugo the Shiba, and the wife Lucy. I've been writing a little handbook on my computer. I won't show it to anyone just yet, but I'm writing down my thoughts and my ideas based on everything that I've been taught and everything that I've uh, taught others with drawing and painting. So I've been doing a little bit of writing, which helps a little bit when you're stuck, like when you have artist block. Sometimes writing helps. Lewis, that's funny. So what's everybody else been up to?
Maria Lucy's mom calling.
Oh, that's my mother-in-law. Forgot to tell her I walked Laurel. Her dog. That's my side job, by the way. Hello. So I had my little YouTube theme song music playing. I was just on the phone for a little bit. That was my mother-in-law. That's my side job, Mondays and Wednesdays, walking their border collie. Yeah, so ever since I moved in here, it's been tough. I mean, every move has been tough, and I know many of you can relate to moving, and then all of a sudden it's like you gotta find a new routine, start new habits, things like that. It's kind of annoying. I also didn't have space for a lot of stuff, so all my stretchers from big canvases I had to get rid of. So this is the size basically that I'll be painting. Let me know if you can hear me, by the way. I cut off the audio and then I turned it back on just now. You can't hear me or you can? Because if you can hear me, that means you heard me ask if you can hear me. I'm not falling for that one this time. Tipo tried to get me. I've been fixing my sleep routine, so I'm a tad bit more alert these days than I was before. It's okay. I have that one. I earned that one. I think with the paint being kind of in between dry, here it's actually almost perfectly dry except for right there. It's better to work in these little middle values, one piece at a time, because you have more control because the paint's a little bit gooey. Almost like how the water mixable behaved, but with this has a lot more control. Well, thanks, Leash. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Painting wet over dry. It's really not that bad if you have soft brushes. I didn't oil the painting out or anything because it's still in between dry. I used to get a lot of questions whether you can work on a painting that's in between dry or not, and you can. Just about the worst thing that'll happen is you might run into a spot that's going to lift off, but if it lifts off, it's okay. Just remix whatever color just came off, and you're good to go. Oh, funny story. When I was a kid, and I used to paint, before I started trying to paint professionally in my when I was like 17. So we're talking about like 14, 15-year-old me. If I accidentally got some kind of paint or like marker or something on a couch, my mom would be so mad at me. We're talking about this is a long time ago. I remember trying to mix the same color as the couch and paint the color onto the couch. I don't know if anybody's ever done that as kids or even now. You don't want to get in trouble with your spouse or your roommates or something. I did try to recreate the color of the couch, which can work until you find out that the reflectiveness or whatever, the gloss of the oil paint is going to be different than that of other types of paint, like whatever paint's on the couch. Yeah, when I was a kid, getting paint on on the couch was kind of like getting paint on, or kind of like breaking a vase or something. I remember those days. I didn't have a proper easel, so I would set a canvas over top of a clothing basket, and that was my easel. I remember. And I would accidentally set a brush down on part of the couch that was not covered. Man, good memories. You can see this is still wet, especially the reds. These, let me see. These not so much. So you can see, well, it's also close to the skin color anyway. But see, the shadow is not that wet. Hey Janice, welcome, welcome. So now I'm going to look for sharp edges that don't necessarily need to be sharp anymore. Like that. I mean, they worked out fine, like this. They worked out fine in the beginning, but now these can soften a little. They can be softer than they were before. I'm glad people still remember me here on YouTube. I feel like I've been long forgotten. The artist block doesn't help either. bet you this part isn't dry. Not even close. The blues and the reds, they will not dry that fast. It's actually a good thing. I'm gonna go ahead and paint into that now, because the lightness and the scratchiness of the background is starting to distract a little bit. I'm gonna take the brush out of the linseed oil container. Oh, looks like it was the same brush I used before. Would you fancy that? And this is the Payne's Gray, I think, that I used. And typically you want the background to be something contrasting to the foreground, somewhat contrasty. So we're gonna go with the usual light over dark. But still I want some traces of the blue of the background to show. Now obviously their shoulder would be there, so I'm gonna make up some of the hair that should be there. This is a happy accident because now I can paint some stuff from the hair, some light and shadow for the hair. Happy accident. Something like that. This strand of hair needs a friend. Isn't that what Bob Ross would say if he painted portraits? This strand of hair needs another friend here. This piece of hair here is a nice little floater. Oh man, I would crack up every time I would hear him say floater. That'd be funny for me. You just saw a spot on my palette that doesn't have any paint on it. I think there's only like 2 spots, like one here and here. The rest, pretty much everything has paint on it. Oh, thanks, Janice. We use pretty much all the Payne's Gray or whatever. What's that color called? Yeah, Payne's Gray. pretty much just the Payne's gray and black. Put a little bit of black and phthalo blue. Why not? Why not put phthalo blue? And this is kind of a, let's call it a bald spot in the painting where I haven't done much, and I'm just gonna leave it as is. Don't need to do much for that yet. I want to keep it somewhat painterly. That's my excuse for saying I don't feel like painting that much detail, so I'll just call it painterly. Form-wise, there's some differences here that I don't know if I want to chase or not. And the eyebrow's still a little flatter than that. Something like that. Flatter. That's the challenge when you're working from pictures. I almost rather have the model move around a little bit so I get different vantage points if I'm working, obviously when I'm working from real life. Don't really have that option here. This plane is a little flatter for the forehead. Oling Owl Design. Yep, I'm here. All is getting better. All is getting better. I hope all of you are doing well also. Thanks for remembering me. I'm still here. That's the problem when you've done all this stuff in your younger years, in your 20s. When you're in your 30s and you've done pretty much all the paintings that you could imagine, minus murals. I haven't done murals, but I haven't really had much of a desire to do murals anyway, but it gets kind of difficult in your 30s to figure out what to paint, what to do video content wise as a content creator. There really isn't that much of a community that I've seen for watercolor or acrylic portrait on YouTube enough for me to continue to make those like tutorial style videos. Live stream though, we can still do that. I'm just talking about videos. Uh-huh. No, I'm not old. It's just in the 30s. It's like I've done a lot of stuff painting wise in my 20s. So it's like almost like exhausted all of my ideas. That's where the artist block comes in. And I had it too in my 20s. I had it too, but I'm not trying to say 30s is definitely not old. 40s is not old. Basically, you're not. The way I look at it, nobody is old until they're dead. Think about what the term old even means. It's a derogatory term most of the time, saying that, implying that something can't be done relative to someone younger. Now, obviously, when it comes to like physical fitness, yeah, I'm not gonna be like doing the kind of things I did when I was 15. But like in my rollerblading days, where I could jump off of like roofs and stuff like that, I'm not gonna do that. No worries. I got you. Oiling out design. Now, obviously, the eyes looking in different directions is not something that bothers me too much these days, but it's kind of easy to identify how much of the white of the eye is showing here versus here. There's a little bit less here. Easy fix. Just like that, simple fix. Now, if I wanted to get super realistic with this, I could. I would just have to. I'd probably have to let it dry and then oil it out and then basically build everything up again. So do everything that I'm doing over again, painting wet onto wet, but oiling out. Though I don't feel like doing that. I just don't. So Tipu, you wrote before you did a portrait in a long time. You had that on your bucket list. You felt something like, now what? You lost the thing you were looking forward to. I know the feeling. It's kind of like artist block. Best thing to do is to turn off part of our brains that stops us from painting. The only way to really turn that off is to just get the brushes and paint. That's the best way to do it. Get the brushes out and just paint. It doesn't matter if it's on your downtime when you just got off of work and you're sitting on the couch with your spouse. Just go ahead and get out your watercolors or your pencils or your pastels and just start drawing something, anything. Nothing is off limits. Oh, Grace, I'm glad you made it. Good to see you too. I know this time is probably difficult for you. Although it is later than the last time. The last time was like at 10. I did mention last week I do dog walking Mondays and Wednesdays, so those days I'll be here later. Though, you never know. I'm like a wild card. I could show up whenever. Now in the picture, this looks flat, really dark, but I know that this wouldn't be that dark in real life. You wrote this time is much better, but the Glasgow Film Festival is now on. Oh, okay, I didn't know about that. Yeah, no problem. Notification wise, yeah, I could schedule some of these ahead of time. That is true. That is true. I wanna, once I start doing more of these, I wanna have a schedule. Also with things that I'm gonna incorporate with Patreon, like for example, I wanna have either a Discord chat or a Zoom chat. Probably Zoom because Discord is kind of hard to use, at least for me. Where you can talk to me and I'll hear you with my earphones. Of course, it won't show up on the video, but so you can talk to me in voice. Maybe like a Google Calendar or something. Okay, now let's soften some edges. I'm going to soften this plane, even though it is supposed to be a little bit sharper. I'm gonna round it out a little more. Thanks, Grace. the concept in my mind with these future streams is to kind of move towards a more chill atmosphere. You know, before it was like a little bit fast paced. I would get to a finished painting in like 2 hours. Not this far, I don't think, but maybe. Just slow it down from there. More of a relaxed kind of tone. If anything, it'll be a sleep aid for you. Yeah, it's been an hour or 7 minutes. That would work kind of as a sleep aid. Although sometimes I toss and turn for about 2 hours before falling asleep. Other times I just pass out right away. But 2 hours might be pretty good, or an hour and a half might be good for just a chill painting session. Obviously, I want to sell these in the future. And I'm doing this so that I can curve the cheekbone, thinking of the curvature. Once I'm done with all this, you shouldn't really notice. It shouldn't be that noticeable. In the beginning, it's more noticeable, it's more obvious. These are the things you can't see from the reference. When you're painting a live model, you can actually walk around and see the curvature. Can't really do that here. So we gotta make it up. Yep, so this is how you blend colors and oil paint. Basically, it just happens by having a string of values on your palette. So you can pick and choose. create like a little bridgeway between one plane and the other. This requires a light touch. Certain patterns repeat themselves in portrait paintings. Like this plane is obviously going to be lighter up until this point right here. That's the cheekbone. So everything above from there is going to be slightly darker, yet this is going to pick up more light here, right here. So this plane is going to be not exact, but close to that one. These are little things that show up almost all the time, especially with light coming from up this direction. That's pretty much the regular, everyday, normal lighting that you're going to have in these kind of portraits. And if you have lighting that's from down here, here, just that kind of strange lighting, it's going to be different, but how often does that lighting show up? Depends on your work. Oops. let's see. So you wrote you like the layout on the screen since you watch on a large screen TV. It was too small to see details. Oh, thanks. I hope I'm not scaring anyone off. I mean, there's not really much to this screen. I'm just kind of back and forth a lot, but at least you can see it, kind of like my body language as I move around. Now there's going to be a clavicle here somewhere, or a collarbone, which is cut off by her shirt that she's wearing in the picture. So I'll vignette it, something like that. Half-fast it. Sometimes that's better. That'd be a little bit more light here. Glad you like this setup, Bowling Owl Design. I'm glad everyone likes this setup. Well, I'm glad the two of you like the setup. Wow, it froze, didn't it? Didn't it freeze? Okay, it just froze for a second. But my dropped frames are 0.0%, so that was weird. There's the clavicle, also known as the collarbone. Collarbone, sternocleidomastoid, the neck muscle. Hey, the Northeast AI wrote absolutely use the screen this way. Oh, good. I'm glad you like having me in it. Thanks. I'm so glad. Oh, we got an error. YouTube's not receiving something. So I got an error from my streaming software. I did run a couple tests right around 2:30 to about 4 a couple weeks ago, and I found that I would lose internet around this time. Kids get off of school at 2, so that means around 4 they're probably done with lunch and on their phones. So if you experience some disconnection on the stream, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we're gonna just vignette the close, just a couple brush strokes, and just say that that's that. No glitches there. Good. It just glitched on my side. I much prefer it to glitch on my side than on your side. That's for sure. Thanks for updating me on that. So yeah, use this as a sleeping aid. Play this when you're at work. Your coworkers might be annoying you or something. Just play this to, help you out throughout the day. Or if you're cooking at home, doing some kind of chores, painting. whatever you're doing, everything except for driving. Although I guess you could play the audio when you're driving, but not the visuals, not the video. And we'll put some planes in for the her. For the her. Put some planes in here. I miss my long hair, but I had to cut it. It was time. Plus, don't tell Lucy, but she complained about it too much, so that's one of the reasons I cut my hair. I remember showing up to the billiard academy after I cut my hair and no one recognized me. I got one person. I was like, "You want to join my league?" I'm already in another league. That was you? You know that this part wasn't fully dry, but you can see it's not lifting that much. Teresa, you said you plan to go play a couple games of pool shortly. Awesome! Hey! That's cool. I got league tonight, but I'm not going. I'm taking probably 3 weeks off of league, and I'm just working on my straight shots, my form. A straight shot in pool is when you just hit a ball straight using no spin, no side spin. It's tough because you have to keep your arms straight when you're following through, and try not to move your body too much or at all other than your arm. Well, let me know how it goes. I should be back either tomorrow or the day after. Let me know how it goes. I was practicing this morning, and so I have my contacts on. But yeah, I'm taking about 3 weeks off of league. I gotta work on my fundamentals. It's kind of hard to work on your fundamentals when you're playing in a league and you're expected to, play as you are instead of play as a stronger player, which is what we're always trying to do. Now there should be a little curl of hair here that I've missed. And the shadow here. So what games are you going to play, Teresa? You're going to play 8 ball, 9 ball, 10 ball, 1 pocket, straight pool, bank pool. My favorite is, my favorite these days is straight pool. My second favorite is 8 ball. I'm using green in the shadow to contrast. The further you go along in a painting, the more you're going to realize that it's very similar patterns where light, contrast, shadow, and vice versa. Not just in value, but in color. You said straight pool. All right. It's kind of sad, but my record in straight pool is less than 2 racks, so that means less than 30 is my record with straight pool. Which I hear is not too bad, but I've never made it past 2 racks. I think I'm at 26 or something. That's my record. But for straight pool, I recommend finding the biggest pockets you possibly can. At the academy, they only have diamond tables, which are great for everything else, but for straight pool, you want tighter or smaller, bigger pockets. To have a better time than with those tiny pockets on the diamonds. Of course, the pros make it look so easy. a very useful idea is if you've ever taken anything to, or let me word it differently. Remember the things that you've taken very far. Say, like in your career, you got a master's degree in your field, or you got a, or say you don't even have a degree, but you have tons of experience in your field of work. The same patterns of learning that you used to get to that level, you can use in anything else, including painting. One of the most useful things is to look at things in isolation. That's what I'm doing with pool. I'm isolating everything, building it up from all the different facets until basically I don't miss. Yeah, they do vary in size. The average American bar table is a 7-footer. But for pro tournament or like pro amateur tournament, typically you're looking at a 9-footer, which is, in my opinion, a lot easier to play on than a small table. Then you have some 8-foot tables, and then the European pool is called snooker, and that's a 12-foot table. It's a completely different game. It's very different. Even though it's a big table, it's basically supposed to be played mostly half of the table. So it's mostly a 6-foot by 6-foot that you're playing for the majority of snooker, until you're like running the colors, which is a different thing altogether. Still a billiards game. Yeah, just for fun. It's great. Just for fun. It's the geometry that you learn in drawing kind of transfers nicely over to pool. Strange how it works, but it does transfer over pretty well. Oh, Mark L used to play pool and snooker. Awesome. Yeah, I got a lot of people that are like, I used to play this semi-professionally, and I'm like, really? And then they pick up a pool stick and they're like automatically better than I am, and they haven't played in like 30 years or something. It's crazy. But man, let me tell you, nothing tortures you more than pool. I mean, painting does to a certain degree, but at least painting is not going to. It might, but at least painting is not going to. How to put it? It's not going to make you feel like you've put hundreds of hours into something and not get anything out of it. You always get something out of it. The painting remains there. Pool, it doesn't. You can go from playing lights out, like really well, and then the next day you're just missing everything. And it happens in that instant. It just instantaneously happens and then it's gone. This will stay. Even if I make a huge mistake here, at least it will stay. And I'll be able to learn from it. Of course, you can video yourself, right, playing sports. I can relate it to any sport. And then you can see it later. So that's one way to bypass that. But how many of us do that? I mean, I do. I video my training in pool and in this. But my training in pool, I don't video every day. Said you were only ever an occasional player. That's all good. The sport definitely needs as many people playing as possible. It's not as big as like football or soccer or something like that. Okay. Made some good progress here. So what I like to do is stand back, although I can't really stand back very far. Here. Let me see. And obviously, the darks are really dark on the picture. I'm trying everything I can to avoid it. I don't want to paint it the way it looks on the picture. Certain things, though, like the shadow on the lip, that should get darker. Not because I see it that way, but because I just remember that that's what form should look like. Alright, take care, Mark L. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it must be almost 1 a.m. over there, right? Or 12 a.m. over there. Thanks for joining, even though this one was later in the day for you. Yeah, we're probably almost done anyway. Oh, 9:30. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. That's a good time to go to bed. I'm trying to go to bed by 9:30. My time. 9:30 or 10:30. My goal is to wake up for the gym, then train, do some pool training for like 3 hours or so. Realistic, probably only like an hour. Then get to work. I'm just trying to sneak in some reflected light if possible. It's kind of an orangey color here. But I hope you've all enjoyed this more laid back type painting session. Just chilled out, very chill. As I start to slowly awaken out of artist block. It's a real thing, everybody. Like, artists go through this. You may not go through it if you just started painting recently, like in the past year or so. But you'll go through it eventually. The best thing to do is just to understand it's natural. It's your mind's way of generating new ideas in your subconscious. Ah, yes, Oling design. Good idea. Buying new tools or implements. Yes, that can also help with the artist block. That is one great reason to buy new stuff. If, of course, we can afford it. Sometimes just having a new brush will make you want to paint more. Sometimes just buying new equipment. Doesn't have to be expensive, right? It could just be a brush. It could be a new color. Instead of burnt sienna, you could buy something like Rublev orange ochre. Something like that. Another one that can help is organizing your studio or reorganizing it. Although for me, there's been many times where I've rearranged my studio and then I go and do something else. Soft edges, contrasting colors. But we worked on this wet over dry. Some stuff like the hair was still very much wet, but we were still able to do it. I tried as much as I could not to move the painting or the camera angle that much so that the whatchamacallit, I can combine the last video with this one for a time lapse. And then of course a long video for Patreon. I think that should be alright for now. But yeah, good pointer, holding owl design. Owling dog design. Owling dog design. Where did I get the owl from? Owling dog design. Yeah, so I have my chat on my laptop. If you didn't notice my head go down. I don't know how to get the text to be bigger. And I do actually see better with my contacts than I do with my regular glasses. So owling dog design, great pointer there. It was originally owl and dog. Oh man, you messing with me. You're messing with me. It's all good. That's all good. It was originally owl and dog. And you got me. Someone else had that name? Oh, okay. It's hard to get a unique username these days. I feel like there's probably more accounts on the internet than there are people. That should be about good. I'm gonna put the brushes down. So we're about an hour, 52 minutes. Reason I'm putting the brushes down is mainly because of the time. Lucy gets off of work soon, so I want to be ready to go eat dinner when Lucy gets back. And take Hugo out, of course, before that. My Shiba Inu needs to go outside. Slowly turning back to owl and dog. Alright, no worries there. I know it's strange to have the usernames these days. This is a fossil now. But okay, hopefully you enjoyed this chill painting session, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Let me see, how did we do today? We got 27 likes, so thank you so much for the likes, everyone. So remember, I didn't just disappear. I am slowly but surely getting back into the rhythm of doing these painting videos. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. I will be back again very soon. The brushes went back in the jar of linseed oil, where you will see them emerge from again next time I oil paint. This is gonna go back in the freezer, although I suspect that some of this is starting to dry. Well, I guess not. Oh, look at that. It really didn't dry. Well, anyway, Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you next time.